Okay, welcome back to part C of place and livability. This video is going to deal with scale and also we'll start to think about climate and the climate graph that you're going to have to do. So let's get started. All right, so what is scale, Kai?
It is stuff that are on snakes.
Good answer. And scales are on snakes and on all reptiles, but the scale that we're thinking about today is it's when it relates to a map is the distance that's represented on the map. So we're really thinking about on a map, how much does 1 centimetre equal? So when you're doing this little section, this is the question here that I want you to ask yourself when you're looking at working out the scale for these three maps. Ask yourself the question: how far is 1 centimetre on my map equal to? And then you'll get an answer that should be in kilometres, metres, centimetres, and you'll also give it as a ratio. The other thing that I was mentioning about scale as well is right in the first video we talked about bolts. Now hopefully you've worked out what bolts is, and so bolts, if we think about the S is going to stand for scale. So for scale. So the S is for scale. All right, so let's get started. All right, so there are 3 scales that you've got to do on your broadsheet. You're going to have this one here, which is the map of the Sutherland Shire that you used in part A. You've got your sketch map that you're going to do, and you've got this map of Sydney. Now, map 1 and 3 are going to have the same scale for everyone. Everyone's going to have the same scale. I'm going to show you how to work out the scale for map 1, and then you'll be able to use my way of working it out to work out map 3 quite straightforward. Map 2, everyone's scale is going to be very different for map 2 because you're all going to be drawing an area that's all different. So it is going to be very different, your scales. You might have a very large or a very small scale. It's going to depend on how big the area you've drawn is. But for today, I'm going to show you how to go through and work out scale for map 1. Let's get started. The first thing I would suggest to you to do is line up your map here, map 1 here, this first one here. Line up this map and look at Google Earth. So get Google Earth back up. And the thing that I'm going to suggest to you to do is find a feature, find something on this map here.
Map 3.
The map 1. Map 1. So find something on map 1 that you can easily recognise in Google Earth. Yeah. So that way if you measure it here, you can also measure it up on Google Earth. So what I've done is I've measured this little gap here, the gap between the southern point at Cronulla and one of the beaches at Bundeena. So that's sort of this little straight line distance here, and I can see it up here as well. I know that if I measure this and work out how long that is, I can then use the ruler tool here and work out how long it is as well. We'll show you in the next slide to help it make a bit more sense. My suggestion to you here is that you zoom in. Zoom in to make this area, or actually no, I think it was this area here. This is the one I measured here. Zoom in so it's as large as possible, and so that way then you're going to get the most accurate measurement as possible. So you're going to need the ruler tool, which we went through in, I think, the first video of Google Earth. And you're going to need an actual ruler there. So what you can see here is that here's my 1 centimetre. I'm always trying to, with scale, work out, well, what does 1 centimetre equal? So I did go through and looking at this map, I looked for something that was 1 centimetre. So I found this area here, this gap between the southern end of Cronulla and this area of Bundeena. I found that this was 1 centimetre. So it meant that whatever this equals in kilometres here, is equal to my 1 centimetre. So I use the ruler tool, and you'll remember that from part A. I click on Salmon Hall Bay, which is this little point here, click on Bundina Bay down here, and then you end up with this little figure, 1.32 kilometres. So I know now that 1 centimetre equals 1.32 kilometres. All right, and that's great, but what do we do with this? So let's keep thinking. You need to now turn that 1.32 kilometres into metres and centimetres, and you also need to have it as a ratio. Now, if you want, you can work it out and go through and figure it out in your head and work out how many kilometres there are, how many metres there are in a kilometre and all that. But the way I'm going to suggest to you is if you go here to Google and you type in kilometres to metres, you're going to get a conversion tool. And for what we're doing with you guys in Year 7 at the moment, that's fine for me. I'm happy for you to do that. And so if you just type in 1.32 kilometres, it's going to tell you what it is in metres. So it's 1,320 metres. You can then change that to centimetres, which is 132,000 centimetres. And then when we give scale, we often give scale as a ratio. And what we mean as a ratio is we mean that the units on either side of the dot are equal. So they're both in centimetres. And so 1 centimetre here equals 132,000 centimetres. And that's the scale of my map.
That is a lot.
It is a lot. You'll go through scale in a little bit more depth as you get into, say, maybe Year 9 and 10 geography. But for Year 7, what we just want you to have an awareness of is, well, what does scale mean and why might it be important? So that's what we want you to be thinking about now. All right, so you've got 2 more scales to work out. The thing that I'd be suggesting to you to do, again, go to Google Earth, use your ruler, find things on your maps that are 1 centimetre in length. So here, you can see that I've measured the distance from this road here to the sand. That was 1 centimetre. And on the bigger one, I think I've measured the distance from Kernell to a little bay in here. Things that I can definitely pinpoint on Google Earth and map and match. So you're going to have to go and do that. You'll be able to then, once you've done that, you can then use that conversion tool to fill out the scales here. All right, because we're running out of time on this one, the next time we're going to look at climate, and then we'll finish with locations and the photographs. But from here, hopefully scale's been made a little bit clearer. You're now starting to understand what scale is, and you're really working through and starting to think about finishing Part C. All right, we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.